So last Sunday, we met John the Baptizer. I call him John the Baptizer instead of John the Baptist, because when I was a child, I thought he was a Baptist, rather than a Presbyterian, or Christian Reformed, or Roman Catholic, or Episcopalian. And now I know that I've been to seminary, so I know that's historically inaccurate. There were no Baptists when John the Baptizer was doing his thing in the ancient world. So I call him John the Baptizer just to be extra clear. And last Sunday, I said that we weren't really hearing about Jesus in the gospel text, which is unusual. That's where our focus usually is. Last Sunday, we have John the Baptizer saying, make way, prepare the way. Someone is coming, and you could feel the longing. That longing that you hear in this text from Isaiah to restore the fortunes of Israel. This Sunday, we meet up with John the Baptizer again, and this time Jesus is in the text. This time, John the Baptizer is trying to communicate from prison. Remember last week when he called the Pharisees and Sadducees, "You brood of vipers." So I get to say it 2 Sundays in a row that way. "You brood of vipers." Well, that might not have gone over very well. And all the folks in power were getting a little sick of John the Baptizer, and Herod puts him into jail, into prison. And so this Sunday, John the Baptizer is in prison, and he is sending messages back and forth to Jesus, basically saying, look, are you the one we've been waiting for? Just tell me. Right? Just tell me. I hope it brought comfort to John in prison to have the message come back. Just look at all the things that we've seen and heard. Of course he's the one. And not just because he says it, but because he does it. Because he is acting to save God's people. He is acting to heal and restore. We know that he is the one. I hope that was a comfort to John. At this point, John doesn't know what his fate will be. We know. We know what happens to John the Baptizer eventually. It doesn't end well for him. But he doesn't know. And I pray that it brought him some comfort to know that the one he has been waiting for has arrived. So this is good news for us too. We might find ourselves in prisons, not literal prisons, although perhaps, but trapped in other ways, emotionally, psychologically, trapped in work situations or relationship situations, trapped with difficulties in front of us, obstacles that make it really hard to move forward. Whatever it is, we all know what it's like to feel trapped. We know what it's like to feel like John the Baptizer, where we look to God and we say, God, are you God? Are you the one I've been waiting for? Are you going to do the thing you have said you will do? We know what that's like. And so it's good news for us today, too, to hear, yes, look at what Jesus said and did, and how Jesus healed, and how Jesus continues to act to heal God's people. Jesus is the one we've all been waiting for. But here's the extra bonus, special, double good news for today, which at first may seem like it's not really good news, but I promise you it is. It's good news for the world and for us. It's a little hard, but it's good news. You ready? You ready? Hello, good morning. You ready? Good. All right, because here it is. Not only is Jesus the one we've been waiting for, but by coming to live among us and to show us how to love and heal and restore God's people, Jesus has equipped us to be the ones that the whole world is waiting for. This is a broken world, isn't it? So much pain, so much suffering. And Jesus has equipped us by giving us discerning hearts and wisdom. Jesus has equipped us to be the ones that the whole world is waiting for. Does that feel big? Might not feel like good news. You might be like, that's too big. I kind of came just for a little moment of break in my week, and that feels like a lot. It is a lot. It's big. And we might be trapped in a prison of thinking that we're inadequate or afraid to be up to this task. But if Jesus can take those notorious sinners and other questionable men and women and these peasant fisher folk and turn them into his disciples and apostles and send them out to be the ones that the world was waiting for, then Jesus can do it with us. Jesus can turn us into the ones that the world is waiting for. Are waiting for? Are waiting for. Now it does take that gift of discernment. So this is when I ask you, just play with me a little bit and pretend like we've been brought to this top secret location by some very secretive but very good organization. And we've been brought to this secret location because we've been conscripted, because we are really, and we didn't know this till now, superheroes. Right? It's the trope. It's the old trope in every superhero story, just about, right? Some young, youthful, sort of misdirected person gets pulled into some place where they're looking around like, what am I doing here? And who are you? And they say, you have a gift, or something like that, right? So that's us. We are like a whole band of superheroes brought to this top secret location so that Jesus can say to us, I have given you a gift and you have to use it. You have to learn how to use it for good in this world. You have a gift. And the gift is not just the wisdom of God, but the wisdom to know how to love like God. The wisdom, the discerning heart that knows when we're to love like this and when we're to love like that. Now, I need to back up and say, when I say love, I don't mean being nice. I think that's like a fallback position for good, upstanding Christian people. Oh, to be loving means to be nice. Well, sometimes, but sometimes it means to stand your ground and to be tough. It doesn't always mean to be nice. So when I say we need discerning and wise hearts to really and deeply and purely love like God, I mean love. Love. To do the God thing. The most loving thing. From our text today, we can see that sometimes we are called to love by waiting, by not doing anything, by praying and being patient and waiting. That's a hard way for some of us to love, isn't it? So many of us pray for patience, and you've always heard that that's a bad idea, right? Don't pray for the gift of patience, because then you'll get lots of opportunities to practice. You heard that? It's hard to be patient, but sometimes the most loving thing we can do is nothing. Is to be present and loving and patient and wait. Wait for God to use the other superheroes and other powers out there. Now that's hard for me. Patience is not my gift. That's hard for me. And so often I want to do something instead of wait for something, right? I have what a friend of mine has labeled lust for finishing. You didn't know where it was going. Lust for finishing. Lust for finishing, according to a friend of mine, is when you just need to send one more email and then you'll go to bed. You just need to do one more thing in the kitchen and then you'll go and do the other thing, right? You just need to do one more thing. And then everything will be done. But it's never done, my friends. We do not have undefined amounts of time on this earth. We have a finite amount of time. We cannot finish everything that lays before us. We have to make decisions, right? We have to sometimes leave things unfinished. That's hard for a lot of us. Is that hard for anybody to leave something unfinished? You think this is not right. What she's saying cannot be true. There's an old blues song that goes, baby, it's primed, but it ain't painted. And I feel like that's most of my life. I don't know about you. It gets primed, but it doesn't always get painted. Do you know what I'm saying? And we have to understand that even though we're superheroes with a superhero power to love like God, we can trust God to paint what we've primed. Okay? Now, we also have to have a discerning and loving heart that knows when to act, when to do something, when to be brave, when to step in, when to love so that we can heal and restore and be a part of the transforming love of God. Knowing the difference of when we're supposed to do nothing and wait, when we're supposed to do something right here and right now, that's the wisdom that we develop by studying Jesus, by waiting on God's love in our own lives. So, here we are in this top secret location, superheroes all. You like the sound of that or no? Some of you are like, yeah, I've been waiting for this. I knew I was a superhero. I was waiting for this moment, and some of you are like, nope, 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 nope. Wherever you are with that news, we are these superheroes of God's love that have been pulled together and sent out into the world to do it, to be about that love, to do anything but to receive that gift and share it would be a waste of such a precious gift.